Everybody to our Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, August the 11th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you everyone and welcome. Not too many in attendance tonight with the heat and humidity we're having. I can't blame you, but I did hear from some of my friends in Lake Forest and from Lake Angeles, so welcome to all the people watching us on TV tonight. Item number 1 on our agenda is public comment. If you're here to make a public comment, please come up to my right, your left to the podium and introduce yourself and your address, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Thank you. Chris Gagnon, 6529 Cathedral Drive. I wanted to share a few concerns with the board this evening in relation to the Robertson development. The first concern relates to the general timeline. Previous estimates were 4 to 5 years of construction. This was touched on during the wetlands meeting, and it was determined by that committee that it would be necessary to extend the required environmental monitoring period beyond the usual time frame, given that this project is expected to take so long to complete. It was mentioned previously, and I'll emphasize again, that according to Township Code, the Township will have no choice but to deem the development as abandoned no later than the 5-year mark and possibly sooner if construction does not continue at a consistent pace. I urge the board to consider it, as well as where unit construction would begin, as we expect it to contribute to short-term and medium-term harm to the home resale values at a minimum. I will also be seeking clarity on how the lot split dimensions were deemed to be compliant with the Township Code and what adjacent properties are relevant for average width and area calculations, including if the remaining temple lot is factored into that equation. I think it is also in the interest of the Township and the community to understand how the temple intends to utilize the proceeds from the sale, including confirmation that the proceeds will be used for religious mission or charitable purposes, as to not cause a loss of exemption status as a 501c3. 2 more considerations regarding the northern portion of the remaining temple lot. First, I would like to confirm that the temple's parking lot placement would cause a violation of setback requirements, given that it runs effectively right along the edge of the proposed residential property line. In addition, zoning ordinance section 42-4.8 requires that any parking layout directing headlights towards residential areas would require a 4-foot high obscuring wall or fence or a green belt. Perhaps these topics have been discussed, but our community will be seeking further clarification. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. And just for general knowledge, the Zoning Board of Appeals will start to hear the Robertson Brothers development, I believe, August 19th. Is that right?
I'm sorry, no, it'd be the second Tuesday in September, which I believe is September 8th.
Okay, September 8th.
I think the second Tuesday.
So I encourage you to attend. Okay, if there's no more public comment, I'll close public comment. We'll move to item number 2, consider consent agenda. A, B, and C. Any comments or questions?
Yes, I just wanted to remove the payroll and vouchers.
Payroll and vouchers, item C.
Yes.
Okay, we can move that to item number 13A, and we will address payroll and vouchers at that time. Anything else? Otherwise, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So it passes 7-0. Item number 3, consider approval of selection of Bloomfield Township Civic Center design concept presented by Andrea Bibby, our Director of Planning and Building Ordinance. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. Not used to speaking at this podium. Should I go to that podium? This is the public podium. Okay, so this is my first opportunity to come before the board as the Director of Planning, Building, and Ordinance, and ask for consideration by the board. We were, the township was reached out to 3 local planning and design firms to help create and develop a long-term, more of a conceptual, high-level campus redesign plan. As many of you know, or all of you know, that with the most recent Redstone study that did an analysis of our facilities in the township, also with those recommendations, the next logical step was for the township to consider the creation of a conceptual design to get an idea of what would best meet our future needs, as well as incorporate elements for public need need, as well as maybe introducing some new concepts that we could bring to Township campus. So we were pleased to receive 3 proposals from 3 different firms. One was Beckett and Rader. Another one was Giffords Webster, and then last was Smith Group. And I'm asking the board this evening that after careful consideration, as well as some discussions with our clerk, Martin, we have worked to, and Michael and Mike, we have come together and had discussions about these 3 proposals. And it's my recommendation and my hope that the board this evening would consider Smith Group as the preferred contract. They came in middle of the road in terms of pricing. They were not the highest, they were not the lowest. And I also, I just want to say that Smith Group has a very long history as well as reputation. They are a one-stop shop, if you will, where they have a lot of the resources that are internal. They're not contracting out. They're going to use their internal resources to help create this campus redesign. Their plan is very aggressive in creating a township core work group to get ideas. And then from there, they would provide us with some high level, as I said, with some cost. There will be some costs associated with these plans that they present. And so that is the intention in the proposal. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have anything specific. But with that, I'm asking for the recommendation or the approval or from the board this evening to accept the proposal from Smith Group.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Andrea?
Yes, one of the items that was raised was moving the salt pile outside of the township to another location. And I haven't heard anything back on how that would impact salting roads during wintertime and the amount of time it would take. Where are we going to put the salt pile? What's the other location?
Sure.
We also have approved changing where we count absentee ballots. The large training room down in the Public Works building was typically used in the past for that activity. And now it doesn't appear to be utilized for that activity as well as potentially others that were critical for the township.
Mark, that's a kind of a different subject. This is about a planner to talk about, the campus we have. I think you're right about the salt dome. That would kind of fall under the planner's recommendations to us, what to do, because we know we own some other property that's been discussed. But you're talking about the location and the activity of the clerk. I'm not sure that fits under this subject.
Well, obviously it does, because downstairs we have additional space that could be utilized.
Downstairs, where?
The building and planning area.
No, we have no room down there. It's absolutely packed
We
full.
could move that to the training facility.
Move what?
Pardon?
Move what?
The building and planning and the offices downstairs right below us. To Public Works, to
Well,
open up space.
If that's
and
where you're going,
save
then
the
yes,
township
that would fall
money.
under the planner, and that could be recommendations and requests that we ask that they would take under consideration.
Well, we just had a study that didn't take into that account, that information, so why would we pay an additional $75,000?
Well, actually, they gave an assessment of our buildings, of the condition of our buildings, and some of that also talked about the police department, how we're working less than 50% of the space that they need. And there were some other department needs, and these are why you bring in a planner to talk about, do you remodel? Do you tear down and build? Do you add on? And so they have to look at it as a whole, and those are recommendations or asks for the planner that we can bring to the table and let them address that with us.
And beyond just facilities, if I could, they're also talking about some of the ideas that will be discussed will be appropriate mix of civic uses, additional mix of uses, if there's something that, in terms of the township that we could add in as an amenity, that may be a consideration. Mobility and improved connectivity, open space in public realm and street activation, sustainability and resilience element. So I just want to point out that it's not just solely necessarily the brick and mortar. It's actually looking at the campus in its entirety and where there could be improvements to bring us up more to the current standards.
Correct.
And when is the final payment on the current loan for this campus paid off?
Michael?
Well, first, the loan that I think you're referring to, the campus construction bond, specifically refers to the Public Works building,
Right, which is through a millage, I believe, right?
which is well, there's a dedicated millage to pay off the
Bond that's taken on it.
the bond that's taken on, and that included building Fire Station 1. It included the Public Works building. And I don't remember if the senior center was included in that. I think it was.
I believe it was. Yes.
And then, or I couldn't remember if it was, the senior center was in the senior center millage, or if it's in it's probably the campus construction
Yeah.
bond. And I believe,
But anyway, yes.
I can
So
give
if
you
you're
an
referring to
answer-
the DPW building, which is noted as a public service building, right, Michael?
yeah, it's a public service building, but it's,
And if I write that millage bond is paid off in 2032, I believe?
I think that's about right. I happen to have the audit here, and I'm sure I could find that information. I don't know why that's relevant to a conversation about a planning project, but I could certainly,
I would prefer to pay off the existing debt before we get into more
Okay.
building.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve. Smith Group has a stellar reputation, and all we're asking them to do is to have just a view from the top as far as working with the Redstone proposal and their ideas. So I make a motion that we approve the recommendation.
And is there support?
There is, and I would just like to make one comment on that as well. Again, we're doing planning now so we can plan in the future. So again, we're not going to start construction or do any of these projects. It takes a while to plan, takes a while for us to make sure we go through all the steps necessary for what our needs are. That's what these people are doing. So I agree, these are putting our ducks in a row for when we want to do that, whether it's in a few years or 2033. We need to get the plans in place, so I support.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, passes 6-1, thank you. All right, thank you, Andrea. Item number 4, consider approval of trustee compensation presented by myself. So what they refer to as compensation for trustees is really called a stipend, a per meeting stipend that you receive. And Neil, do you want to give us some background on this so we can kind of talk about it a little bit?
Sure. I can give you some background as far as where things have been over the years, if that's what you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So up until about 2011, 2012, the stipend was about $150 per meeting, at which time it went up to, well, so let's say 2011, 2012, in that area went up to 200. 2020, it went up to $250 per meeting, just for, the trustee sitting in at the board meetings. And then I can give you little comparisons.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I spoke with the West Bloomfield clerk, and in West Bloomfield, the trustees receive $11,500 per year as their stipend, whether they attend the meetings or not, as opposed to us, of course. We have to attend the meetings, which we should, in order to receive our stipend. Even with the proposed increase, we're still going to be significantly less than West Bloomfield, which is fine. I spoke to Jason several times over the past year, and there is money in this year's budget for $325 per meeting for increasing to that. He anticipated there would be some type of an increase. And then the reason for having the $400 being put off until April 1st of next year is so we don't have to have a budget amendment. I mean, we could certainly amend the budget and just go right into $400. It wouldn't be that much of an amendment, it'd be a few $1,000s, but rather than do that, proposal is just $325 now, and then $400 on April 1st of 2026. And then I know that Chris had some additional information.
Chris?
Yeah, thank you. This is something that Trustee Barnett and I have been talking about for a while, and just kind of looking at some of these other communities that we compare ourselves to. We could compare to West Bloomfield a lot, where I happen to work is from Northfield Township. And when we compare us to them, they have similar demographic, similar tax base, a board that is well-respected, well-received, and has a complex of issues similar to us. So when we looked at what their salary was, in 2012, they were adjusted from 2006, I'm sorry, in 2012, they were at $6,000, they got adjusted to $9,000. They only do one meeting a month. So they are paid a salary as well. So again, and then even in 2016, they were adjusted all the way up to $11,000 a year. So on a per meeting basis, they're actually paid significantly more than us. But again, similar to us, they have a great board, they have stability, respect in the community, similar to us. So when I look at boards that I compare us to, those are where I look at. I look at West Bloomfield, I look at Northfield Township. I look at these boards and to see what they're getting paid and kind of want to put us more in line. When we do the 325 that Neil had talked about with Jason, not only does that not create a budget amendment, which is obviously important, it also kind of starts to put us more in line with kind of where other communities are paying and what they expect out of these seats. It's not just us being here for the hour or two for the meetings, it is all the additional time, whether we're on all these different boards, meeting with clients, meeting with people. You know, I spent several hours today doing other township board stuff. So it's just a way to say, kind of compensate that on a lower level.
All right, thank you. Any further comment?
Yes, we were compared to two groups, one West Bloomfield, one Northville. Both groups actually require their townships and their local entities to follow best practices as spelled out by the Department of Treasury, while our board chooses not to. I think on a transparency level, we're significantly behind. And even in the, not the most recent study, compensation study, but the one before, all the communities that we were compared to on that list, or at least Birmingham, Troy, Rochester, they all followed best practices with regards to financial reporting. Our township doesn't. I think
I'm going to have to object right there. I mean, that's just ludicrous that we don't follow best practices compared to Department of Treasury. We are a AAA rated community, which was just reaffirmed 3 weeks ago when we got a AAA rating to sell our most recent issue of bonds. And I just, you're just lobbing out, you know, Molotov cocktails of we don't follow best practices. You're not providing any basis of fact to make that statement. And it's really insulting to us, especially those that, you know, work in the financial realm because, you know, we have the highest rated audits that you could possibly have, including the lead auditor who is a certified fraud examiner.
Michael,
It's just absurd.
Yep. Michael, Dirk Beckerleg is on record when I made comments earlier this year that the township is not required to follow best practices with regards to
Well, we'd have
the
to.
budget and the budget manual.
That's a different statement than what you're
Again,
referring to,
I don't see the
Mark. I think that's
relevance.
Yeah, I'm not either, because we got to stay with the topic.
I do too. I believe it is relevant.
Okay, good.
Because in the quarterly report that we received in December,
This has to do with compensation for the trustees, correct? What you're about to talk about?
yes, because if the township, if I cannot find where the money is coming from to pay for public safety and the road fund in
Okay.
December
Okay.
of last year,
You're switching gears again. We're talking about trustee compensation. So
I'm
can
talking
we?
about everyone's compensation and
We're
how
just
it's being
talking
met.
about trustee
Yeah, that's- we're
compensation.
trying to stay
Nobody
with the
else.
agenda.
Yours, mine, Chris,
Val, the
Val,
four-
or who's ever sitting
So-
in these
four of
seats.
Are the previous statements by Dirk Beckerleg inaccurate?
We can't comment on that. Tony, would you have a comment on that?
No, all that I would say is whether your former attorney advised you that the city is required by law or not to follow best practices is really not what you look at when your treasurer is holding the audit that was recently done by Plant Moran was an unqualified opinion, I'm sorry, and it was unqualified opinion and found no evidence of any sort of impropriety. And I also saw
I
your
never said
emails.
impropriety, I said best practices. And Dirk Beckerleff was very clear, we're not required to follow best practices.
These
But
very-
if we are
We're
going,
not required to.
Yeah, but it doesn't
we
mean that we're
certainly
not
do.
following best practices. That's a statement that is so generic. And so let's go back to the compensation for the trustees. And that's the matter at hand. Okay, these are other side issues I think you're drawing into this item. So if you object to the trustee compensation, then we're going to hold a vote and just vote no.
okay,
Okay?
fair enough.
Okay, then I'll
Thank
make a
you.
motion that we approve the resolution that's been presented to the board regarding trustee compensation.
I just have a comment.
Sure, Beth.
I'm sure the board knows me and is not surprised. I was okay with staff raises, but sitting in this seat is an honor. We're elected by the public, it's public service. And I just have an issue with voting for raises for electeds. I think you guys all know that already, because I've said that once before. So I'm not comfortable with this and voting on the increase.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
all.
Okay, we have a motion, support.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, passes 5-2. Thank you. All right, item number 5, consider approval of a proclamation designating September 11th through the 17th of 2025 as Patriot Week in Bloomfield Township, presented by Michael Schostak, our township treasurer.
Thank you. Before I get into that, I'll just revisit an item that was brought up earlier. Mark, the campus construction bonds mature in 2032.
Okay, thank you
as
for
listed-
confirming.
As listed in our note 6 of our audit. Okay, so every year for the past, I think it's been almost 15 years, this township board has sought fit to recognize the ideals of our democracy, our country's history, and the legacy that we uphold here as Americans. Typically, I read this resolution, but I'm not going to this year because it's virtually the same that we recognize every year. It's the same resolution or similar resolution that the U.S. Senate, the Michigan Senate, Michigan House, other, bodies recognize as well. And it was started by a local family here, and it has really gained traction throughout the country. So basically, this resolution says that Bloomfield Township will join countless other jurisdictions, municipalities, et cetera, across Michigan and the country in recognizing that September 11th through the 17th be Patriot Week here in the township. And why those specific dates, we want to give reverence and pay respect to the victims of the September 11th attacks back in 2001. Can't believe it was already 24 years ago. I'm sure we all remember where we were that day. And choosing to end the week on September 17th, which was the anniversary, or is the anniversary from 1787 of the signing of the Constitution. So that makes a week right there, September 11th through September 17th. So we thought that, or the family thought it would be a great thing for us to recognize, and they called it Patriot Week, and we have done that every year since. So this resolution seeks to designate September 11th through 17th, 2025 as Patriot Week.
And I'd like to support that and also say that family is certainly very highly respected. Judge Michael Warren and his daughter Leah, who was a little girl at the time that they started this.
Yeah.
And now she's in graduate school.
And there's a whole foundation that goes
Yes.
along with it. They have
Yes.
an educational foundation that they raise money for. It's
Yep.
I will support.
a majority.
Any further comment? Not, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Thank you. Item number 6, consider approval of a letter of agreement with Government Employees Labor Council, Bloomfield Township General Employees, presented by Michael Schostak, as well as items number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. They're all interrelated with different
Yeah.
groups.
Yes.
So you would like to speak to all?
Yes, so I will address all the items as they are identical. As we are in the process of negotiating with our 8 labor unions, we are moving forward with progress, but we have run up against one time constraint, and that is to modify the medical insurance plan for full-time employees. We have to notify our carrier by September 1st that we are going to make a change to the plan that would go into effect for January 1st of 2026. And so we don't have the time in the next 30 days, or I guess 19 days at this point, 20 days, to get all of the contracts signed and ratified by all of the required bodies. So we decided to get a letter of agreement that was negotiated and agreed to by all 8 of the unions. And the modification, as you see in the letter of agreement, is that we are changing the in-network out-of-pocket maximum to $3,000 for a single individual, $6,000 for a family. I will remind the board that our employees are on a high deductible health plan, and so that deductible is currently $2,000 for a single individual, $4,000 for a family, and this will make the in-network out-of-pocket maximum $3,000 and $6,000. And then we are decreasing the payroll deduction for the employees who participate on our plan, $25 per pay period for a single individual, $50 for a family. This brings us much more in line with peers. In fact, we're still higher than many peers, but this brings us closer in line. And then the last change, which is important to some but not all, is that we previously would require dependents under the age of 26 who are on their parents' plan to provide evidence of them being in school, and we have decided to remove that requirement. So by law, we still have to allow dependents under the age of 26 to be on their parents' plan, but we will not be requiring them to show evidence of being enrolled in school. And these will be, the terms of these agreements will be included in the collective bargaining agreements when we get those finalized, and I'm optimistic that we'll have them all done this fall. And they're, as I said, all of the terms are identical between the various unions. So we're going to need 2 motions on discussion with our attorney. 7 of the unions have actually ratified it and signed the letter of agreement. One of the unions, the fire union, was not able to get their voting process complete in time. And so that motion will be subject to their ratification, which I fully expect to come in the next 2 weeks. So I'll entertain any questions. Otherwise, I would be looking for 2 motions. The first one is to approve the 7 letters of agreement. Do I need to spell out the names of the unions or just say?
It's items 7 through 11, right?
I don't.
7 through,
6 through 11?
yeah,
And
because
then item
firefighters are not in it, right?
Firefighters are last?
12, they're 12.
They're 12. Okay, so yes, so items 6 through 11. And to authorize the supervisor and the clerk to execute the agreements. And then the second motion would be for the fire union, again, to approve the letter of agreement and authorize the supervisor and the clerk to execute the agreements. Be happy to entertain any questions.
I have any questions, I just have a couple comments. I think this is smart for us to be able to do this. We make it consistent across the board for all of our unions, which is easier for us to manage. Again, we're able to pass on some of the dollar savings by us doing some of these things to our unions. And this is the feedback that I believe we received from the unions of some of the items they wanted. So to hire the best, retain the best, and to keep the best here in Bloomfield, which is what our residents not only expect but want. By doing these changes, I think this is prudent for us. So not only is it financially prudent based on what you guys have been able to do, it is socially prudent to be able to do that when we have a talent war out there for these individuals. So I am in complete support of it. Thank you for doing this, Michael.
No, I agree. It just kind of mirrors what we had discussed previously at some of our meetings, and I appreciate you doing that. And certainly in this day and age, it's extremely difficult to retain good talent, let alone obtain good talent. So thank you for doing what you've been able to, what you're attempting to do to help us keep our talent in all of our various contractual areas here right now. So, are there any comments?
Any further comments?
Item B and item 7, are those removed? They're blank on our,
That's because these are modifying the existing contracts. And so section 1, under article, in this, I'm looking at the General Employees Union, Article 20, Section 1 is the medical and prescription benefits, and then it's subpart C to B7. So B and 7 are still the same. They're not being changed in the contract. It's subsection C that's being changed. But B and 7 are not being changed. So those are
so therefore they're left blank?
Well, they're left blank in this because
They are changed.
they're not changing what's in the current contract.
Okay, thanks. How will this affect the budget?
It will not affect the budget because we were already budgeting. First of all, only 3 months of this change will be included in our budget because our budget goes through March of next year. So only the first 3 months of 2026 would have been included. But because we had visibility that this is where we were going, these calculations were included in the benefit calculations in the budget.
Okay, thanks.
Any other further comment? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, so Chris, I think you have to spell out your motion.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the letter of agreements for items 6 through 11, and then,
Authorize.
And authorize the clerk, treasurer, and/or
Supervisor.
supervisor to execute a contract with the fire union.
No,
They're not.
You want that one too?
That's
separate.
That's going to be separate.
You're just authorizing the supervisor and the clerk to sign.
For 6 and 11. Okay,
6
so I would
through
like to make a motion that we authorize the clerk and the supervisor to accept letter of agreements for items 6 through 11.
Support.
Support, and before we vote, Tony, because there's 2 amendments, do we have to do 2 different votes, or are we combining them into one?
It'll be one, isn't
Okay.
it?
Everybody understand that? Okay, we're good? All in favor?
Wait, back up.
Go ahead, Martin.
There's a second motion.
There will be the second motion that needs to be made as well as it relates to the
Okay, good.
firefighters.
So we're just doing the one and then the
The
other?
one.
That's what I was
Yep,
asking.
oh, I
Okay.
apologize.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
just
Martin.
the one.
Okay, so on Chris's motion, and there was support?
From Val.
Support, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so it passes 7-0, and then do you want one other motion, please?
Do you want to do that one, Val?
Sure. Consider approval of the letter of agreement for the firefighter union that was not able to have the letter ratified.
Just say subject to their approval.
Subject to. And then to allow Supervisor McCready and Clerk Brooke to finalize the,
To execute that agreement?
The firefighters.
Yep.
Okay, and is there support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes 7-0. So that will take us then to 13.
Hold on, wait a second.
Wait a second.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, Supervisor.
Yep.
On my agenda, it shows 6 through 12 are the approval of the labor unions for the ones that have already TA'd it.
That's why
So this was my mistake. I said 6 through 11. I'd like to, do I need to make another motion because I didn't include 12?
Well, we didn't,
And I was looking at it, that's why I stumbled, because I was looking for it, and I was like, I don't see firefighters on 12.
On my packet, am I missing something?
It's number 13.
Firefighters
Firefighters are
13.
13.
We added the department heads,
Yeah.
So,
so it's gotta be 6 through 12.
so I can either make another motion
Yes.
or I can amend my motion. What would you like me to do?
okay.
Just make a motion to approve 12.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we approve item 12, which is consider the letter of agreement for the American Federal of State, County, and Municipal Employees Local UA, Bloomfield Township DBW, and that we authorize the clerk and supervisor to sign it.
Support. Support. Okay, and we, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes. Thank you for the correction.
And then do we need to correct?
No, hers is right.
No,
She
she's
said,
right,
some-
'cause
she
I
said
said
the
13,
firefighters.
I said, because I was looking at it, and I'm like, it's not in 12, but I'm gonna, I know I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
firefighters.
Okay, so now 14 is consider, and then we have 14A also. 14, consider amending board regular meeting schedule to cancel August 25th meeting due to lack of agenda items. Martin?
There's a memo in the packet just outlining that, that the board is authorized to change its scheduled regular meetings. I'm asking that we do so because the August 25th meeting has no agenda items, and we do not anticipate the need to have any agenda items.
And we looked for some people are going to be on vacation as well before they go back to school for Labor Day, so kind of gets in our way. Any conversation or comments?
No, I mean, it makes sense, and to assemble all of us and, staff for, a couple of items that aren't critical.
Right.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I echo what Val says.
Okay.
So with that, I'd like to make a motion that we cancel our August 25th meeting due to lack of agenda items.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Okay, which brings us to item 14A, which, Mark, you pulled off the consent agenda approval payroll and vouchers for August 11th.
So my objection still stands, so I'll be voting no on that. I brought with me the quarterly statements from March 24th if someone wants to see a copy. But public safety has a negative $26 million cash outflow. The audit from March of 2024 shows $14 million in fund balances. That means there's $12 million that's unaccounted for. We include there are no transfers coming in from the general fund, although we do include the transfers going out from public safety to the general fund. And during previous meetings, we've been told that the money can't come from the general fund, but that doesn't seem to be the case because the cash flow is not going out. And that would put the general fund in a negative balance if that was the case as well. And I'm also concerned that the board as a whole is not aware of where the funds are being sourced to meet those obligations for public safety as well as the road fund at the end of the third quarter. We shouldn't be using funds from the enterprise fund. Generally speaking, we should not be using enterprise funds. Enterprise funds are not allowed to be used to supplement other governmental operations, other than some ability to reimburse other funds for administrative costs, as that can constitute an unauthorized tax. And that's from the Department of Treasury for the state of Michigan.
Okay, Mark, I'm going to take a pause here for you. We did look into your state of Michigan, the Treasury, the local government, talked to Nick, and he did not, he confirmed he did not have any kind of a conversation like that with you.
Here's the email.
Yeah,
that
we
I
saw the
forwarded you.
email, and he emailed us back, and he clarified it. And I think there's a clear misunderstanding that you may want to go back and have another conversation with him. And when you talk about the police fund, they're fully funded. We've explained it over and over. I'm going to ask you if you would please make an appointment with Jason Tice, our finance director, so he can try and explain it to you one more time, and then you can state your
I met with
objections.
Martin, and I asked him where the 12 million variance was coming from, and he said, we're not required to put the transfer in. So.
And I
would
invited you to
like-
come to a meeting with me and Jason. I offered dates and times, and I know it didn't fit for you, but please, that your offer continues to stand, because
Yeah, we'll try and
the
find-
accounting is
maybe another
solid
time
and
can
clear.
work out for you then.
I just have a couple comments on that.
Sure.
First, as trustees, I have no problem with where our money is going. I know we have auditors, we have, continue to get S&P, we keep getting Standard & Poor's, AAA bond ratings. We have
Right.
people keep looking into our stuff, and they keep saying, we're doing not only above board, we are doing great practices and best practices. And then, Mark, you sent the email, which I do appreciate. There's one item that you continue to not say is this specific threshold would likely be better answered by your township's auditor or legal counsel. We have looked into our auditor. They have no problems with anything that we're doing. They continue to give us good reports, as well as our legal counsel continues to give us the same response. So I find it inappropriate to take words out of context, because you did send us an email which was appreciated and transparent. I read this email saying, here are some generalities, and look at your auditor who are experts in this. I'm not an expert in governmental accounting. That's why we have auditors. That's why we hire people to do this. They continue to tell us that we're doing the right thing. It's inappropriate for us to say, anybody here, I don't know your background, but I'm not a governmental accounting expert. Even though I did work for the Big Four accounting firm, worked on forensic audits, fraud, all those things. I'm not an expert in this. And I would not sit here and trash anybody's name or reputation based on that. So with that, I would like to make a motion that we approve the payroll
I
vouchers.
would like to, all I'm asking is, which fund is the money coming from? I think it's reasonable, and I think the board should be approving the use of unassigned fund
Okay.
balances.
And just like
and we're
they
going to
said-
invite you in to come in and we'll explain it again.
Just like I have to,
Right.
if I have other questions, I make time out of my day to come here, because being a trustee isn't from 9 till 8 or 7 till 9. It is all the time. I take emails, phone calls, I meet with people. That's our job. So I make sure I make accountable in time when I have these questions. And I would hope that you'd be able to, because that's how we get these answers. So
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like it's a
absolutely.
problem.
Absolutely. So you'd like to finish your motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve payroll and vouchers as submitted.
Support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, 6-1. And item number 15 brings to adjournment. A motion?
Move adjourned.
A motion, we are adjourned. Thank you,
Support.
everyone.